enemies, hiding in the street, trying to catch me, bury me in a cemetery. I've been cut, left in the street, left to bleed. Taken to the hospital repeatedly. No comas for me, but I take a couple somas for recovery. From the massive business, I'm hallucinating. I wish I could take a button of peyote so I could feel good again. I must be trippin', cause at first they wanna catch me slippin'. And a couple whip past, now they call it quits. Act all hard, but use a little fish. Only try to attack when there's more of them. And there's only one of me now. What the fuck you think I'm reppin'? DST comes strongly. City of angels set to the east, where people die every day. Another thing that happens daily. Friends turn to enemies, enemies to friends. In the world you lose in the end. Friends turn to enemies, enemies to friends. And use a bitch cause you're giving in. Friends turn to enemies, enemies to friends. In the world you lose in the end. Friends turn to enemies and enemies to friends. And use a bitch cause you're giving in. From the streets I came, East LA where I was raised. No toys to play, only graves and forgotten names engraved in stone. Where our bodies turn cold and the skin touches bone. Kids nowadays live life as clones, living in the ghetto, try to reach that throne. And only go for a lost soul, out of control. In the city where restless spirits roam. Death follows you wherever you go. Will I live another day? And answer that I don't know. Who's coming after me, my friends or my foes? One day they cool, then they act a fool. Claim to be a Jew, but you're trash, you're stool. Bullied as a kid, now you think you rule. Making up your own decisions, choose carefully, cause I don't think past this state you're living. Friends turn to enemies, enemies to friends. In the world you lose in the end. Friends turn to enemies, enemies to friends. And use a bitch cause you're giving in. Friends turn to enemies, enemies to friends. In the world you lose in the end. Friends turn to enemies and enemies to friends. And use a bitch cause you're giving in. You look at me and smile, trying to deceive me. But just the other day your bitch was on me, pleasing me, asking why you can't be more like me. All you carry on your shoulders is envy. You said we used to be homies, bullshit. It was your bitch asking after me. Asking one day, can we go riding? Now you wanna slash because your style is nasty. Rounded up some haters and you think they players. Step up to me and I'ma have to lay ya on the fucking street where your family can see you for what you are and not what you're trying to be. Friends turn to enemies and enemies turn to me, but I ain't never giving up or giving in. Don't give a fuck because it's war, I'm surely gonna win. Friends turn to enemies, enemies to friends. In the world you lose in the end. Friends turn to enemies.